panel of 5 justices on Monday commenced hearing petitions challenging the outcome of the 2023 presidential election. Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and Peter Obi of the Labour Party are 2 frontline presidential candidates challenging the declaration of Bola Tinubu by the Independent Electoral Commission, INEC, as winner of the election. The Labour Party has maintained their stance and been the winner of the February 25 presidential election. In a press statement, Akin Oshitoko, Director General of the Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council, said the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, should not throw Nigeria into crisis, and has also released a breakdown from Labour Party's investigation of its win percentage in each state of Nigeria. So joining us on the show this morning to discuss the proceedings of the Presidential Election Tribunal is Akin Oshitoko, Director General of the Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council. Welcome to the show. And great to see you again.
Thank you very much, Rufai.
Like Dr. Vatu famous call you.
For me too. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be back on the familiar territory.
Balogo Kivesi, like Dr. Vatu famously call you. Yo, to call you that. But let's go straight to it, sir. Let's go straight to it, sir. You released a couple of results. A lot of people are going to ask, who authenticated those results? Who peer-reviewed those results? Secondly, I want you to also look at this Osun case, although I must have to state again that we have not seen the certified true copy of the full ruling. But I read a portion in there as reported by a newspaper that was talking about the fact that what was backed up on the server, cannot be totally admissible because there might be some flaws in the technological handshake with the server. What's your reaction to that? And who authenticated those results you printed out? Who peer-reviewed those results you released?
I'm surprised, Rufai, that you are saying this. It didn't come from me at all.
Okay.
You see, it has been in circulation for quite a while, and you issued a press release on March 5th. The 5th of March, precisely, to urging the public to disregard it. It doesn't come from me.
Good.
It will be a little bit irresponsible of me to start releasing results of election. And if you read the thing right well, I'm sure you have my phone number. Compare the phone number you have on the so-called press statement with my personal number. Well, I'm surprised really that you, with the access you have, with your megaphone, you believe that, you actually believe that, and again, well, I've again now had to reissue that press release. I would have thought that right outright that
okay.
This is not for
you know why I deliberately asked it?
Done that.
You know why I deliberately asked it? Yeah. Because it was a roving story.
I'm glad you asked.
And despite the fact that you have debunked it, it still keeps coming up. And that's why I'm happy you deliberately, and that's why I said, who authenticated it? It was for a deliberate reason. Who peer-reviewed it? It was for a deliberate reason. And I'm happy that you've been able to exonerate yourself on national TV. And I'm sure this clip of this conversation we'll have will be taken and beamed onto millions of people that keep attaching that result to you. And I'm happy you clarified that. Secondly, will be the issue of that Osun ruling. I know nobody has gotten the certified true copy. You might not have read it. But the part in it that talks about the fact that what was backed up on the server could not be completely authenticated as a basis to use for determination. It's a part that a lot of people have raised eyebrow about. Because in that ruling, they talked about the fact that there might be discrepancies when you back up in the server. And I also remember that your party went ahead to INEC and said, let us investigate. But they said that they were going to back up on the server and you can get those server details. When you see a ruling like that, how do you juxtapose both?
Well, I'm not a lawyer, and I'm sure maybe we should wait for the comprehensive statement of the judgment, where explanations will be given as regards the kind of issues we are raising. But let me tell you something, that in this age, in the age of that we are in today, there is no information black hole. And look, the moment you release an information in server or whatever it is, and you attempt to distort it, you have an evidence against yourself. And I think that as we go along, that will be the case. bvas, I've spoken at length with Mike Igini, who is an expert, a former Rec Commissioner and an expert on these kind of issues. And he did make the point that, look, the bvas, you cannot, it's next to impossible. Well, that the issues we used to have before in terms of voter accreditation, they are done manually. And so if 200 people voted, you can easily maneuver it to become 20,000 or 200,000. But with the bvas, it is the exact number of those who are accredited that will be voted, and you will have that information there. So one of the ways that, Nigerians are experts and, are distorting things, we are used to making things become dysfunction here in Nigeria. So what happened in many of these cases was that since they could not vary the numbers that were cast, the number of votes that were cast, let's say in where you are, 200 people were accredited, 300 people were accredited, and the breakdown of those 300 people was maybe 200 for Labour, 50 for the other one, 50 for the next person. The way they went about it now, that since it is impossible, that has become impossible to increase the figures, so what they then did was they will then remove, as I say, from Labour Party. If Labour Party scores 200, they will remove maybe 10. No, if Labour Party scores 211, right? They will take the 2 away from Labour Party and put the 2 in front of the purported, in front of somebody, another party that has scored maybe 12. So the party that scored 12 will now become 212, and then the Labour Party, from where the votes were deducted, will be reduced to 11. So this is the case, because as I said, Mike Igini is an expert. He was surprised that, look, they thought that, well, with these, you are home and dry. But as I said, Nigerians are experts, in distorting things, in making things that are supposed to serve us creditably. You yourself, Nigerians sabotage themselves. Like, I think that was what happened in the case of INEC. They sabotage the bvas. And there is a question people have raised all along that they have not provided an answer. Now, if you are using the same server to transmit election results, presidential election results, senatorial election results, and House of Rep, how come the other 2, the down ballot 2, were not affected? How does it come about that you can transmit that of Senate and House of Rep, and you can, but when it gets to the presidential election, you now say that you have a technical problem, a glitch. Of course, we've since learned that, this is a man-made ditch. It was not an accident. It was done specifically to give them room to maneuver, around the figures that were given. So I think what has helped Adeleke in Osun is the fact of that bvas, right? That first, the argument against Adeleke was overvoting. But with bvas, it is not possible for you to overvote. You are going to, it's going to report. What you can do is fiddle with the figures, as I told you earlier. But you cannot overvote. You cannot add figures over and above the number, the voters that were registered at that polling booth. So this is, in his own case, the bvas has been used.
All right.
And for the purpose it is supposed to serve.
Okay, Mr. Osun, I'd like to move away a little and just still on the tribunal, but ask us to this chairmanship crisis in the party, where you are now, and if you think or if there would be an impact on the ongoing tribunal. So with Mr. Julius Abure and Lamidi Apapa, what's the status of things? In the previous interview, it said that the judiciary's judgment had created the crisis in your party. What's the status, and would it have any impact on the ongoing tribunal?
Well, you know, I don't want to talk about this Labour Party issues all over again. Now, look, we were campaigning the past 1 year. We campaigned. We did a lot of party activities, you know, the main agenda being the presidential campaign. Not once did I see any of these people whose names you have mentioned, Apapa or Arabambi, any of them on the near, you know, coming near, you know, where these activities took place. So, you know, the thing is, I think the media also creates this kind of problems, maybe because of the news value, the nuisance value it has. I think you should ask yourself that, what is the process of a party member becoming a legitimate or valid officer of the party? Can a deputy national chairman wake up one day and start claiming that he has become the chairman of the party? Yet another person calls himself the national secretary. So so there is an element of the contribution of, you know, the media, and obviously this charade is being sponsored, you know, by opponents, you know, people who are used to doing those kind of things. There are no issues in the party. As I said, I've never seen any of these guys, you know, in the party function, in an election. So they just came out from nowhere, you know, and start being, you know, they are serving as agent provocator. Now, you remember the other time that they issued a statement saying they were disbanding the Presidential Campaign Council. They were withdrawing the petition, before the Presidential Election Tribunal. Who does that to his public? You remember the case of Solomon in the Bible. Now, you know, if two of you are claiming the baby, it's okay. You then ask that, okay, yeah, he's going to cut the baby in half. The authentic mother, of course, you know, had nothing, doesn't want it. You know, that the baby to be cut in two and shared between the two of them. The person who is the fraud, right, now confirm her fraudulent, you know, position by saying that, look, cut it in half, you know, that would be good for, you know, and the half should now be shared between him. So it is the same thing here, that if you are claiming a property, yep.
We have just about a minute to go, so you have to keep the answers short. Quickly, some of those issues about figures, about what is on IREV and all of that, these are matters that are already before the tribunal. It will be prejudicial for us to be splitting hairs over this is the figure that is on IREV, this is what is in bvas. But I go back to the Osun matter. Festus Keyamo, in reacting to the judgment in the Osun case, says a precedent has been established by the Supreme Court. And his argument is that, look, what has been done in the Osun case, everybody should note, because it may determine the outcome of the presidential election petitions. One of the things that the Supreme Court said in the Osun gubernatorial case is that, look, the figures on bvas, what is recorded on bvas, must be in agreement with what is in the INEC portal. If there is any disagreement, then there's nothing to pursue. So, do you think that it is indeed a double-edged sword, and that that may, be the outcome of the presidential election petition? Because it looks like the APC is already jubilating on the basis of the ruling in the Osun case. Does that discourage you? Briefly, please.
Well, beware. Well, you should beware of the perils of premature applause. But with regard to the question you asked, I was not the one who introduced the subject of what figures exist in bvas. It was directly a question from, it is impossible to talk about the Osun State case without making that, clarifying that position. I didn't pluck it from the air. It was not even my initiative. It was in response to a direct question from you guys. And so it's not a matter of sub judice. And I'm telling you that you yourselves, you must have had interactions with Mike Igini, who's an expert on these matters, and taking time to explain. I did not say that I didn't mention anything specifically with regards to our case before the presidential election. So although you are not, your premise is totally wrong. But you see, look, I don't know why anybody is entitled to his own sense of fantasy. Anybody can celebrate anything, you can say what. I don't see how those who have defrauded in collusion, maybe in collusion with INEC, how that judgment and the logic of it will serve their purpose. Because if something is already on the bvas that you cannot change, I don't think that APC, should rejoice on that. And of course, that will be proven at the court as the case goes forward. What is it? Look, it's. I don't know how the APC and his people, they are experts at distorting views. They are experts at distorting news. They can tell you that black is white, or black is white. And so it's difficult to actually respond to the kind of irascible statements, they make at times, something that is illogical. On what basis are we challenging the result if bvas is going to serve the interest of those who defrauded, the results of the election? So, I mean, as I said, everybody is entitled to a sense of fantasy to celebrate and things like that. But certainly,
On that note, thank you very much, Akin Oshitokun. You refer to Mike Igini, where so many things have been said in Mike Igini's name. I think that's the burden he bears for having given a lot of analysis ahead of the elections. But I'm sure Mike Igini watching will probably come around here to tell us what he thinks. Thank you very much.